Do you ever feel like you're too obsessed with your relationship?
Ooh, no, I feel like I could be more obsessed.
I fucking knew you were gonna fucking say that.
Easy. It's not that I forget. It's just that it's, I'm looking for the moment. You're eating a fucking grape now, so you can't even get mad at me for not being ready to start. Just put food in here. You're doing mouth sounds now.
Our future employees, man. God bless them.
I know. God bless me. God bless you. Okay. Hi, I'm Phoebe.
Hi, I'm Jacque.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
And we made it. We made it. Do you know the first words that came out of my mouth this morning?
What?
Were to a vet because they were calling me at 7:45 this morning. Yeah. I mean, amazing. But like, I just, it's official. I'm not having children.
Ollie is just barking away in the background.
Oh, I can't hear him.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's real. That's real. You know, I've been sick.
I know.
And today, you'd be very proud of me.
Would you do 6 burpees instead of 10?
Shut up.
Shut up.
I did not, like yesterday, I was like, Jacqueline, you are not going to get out of this bed until you feel like the energy of wanting to do things again.
Yeah. Just because we can get up doesn't mean we should be getting up. Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I rested yesterday because this morning I woke up and I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what you should be feeling when you're getting over being sick. Not like, I guess this is okay. I'm fine. Yeah, sure. I'll do that thing for you.
Exactly. No. And, and I didn't even like fully rest. Like I kind of did some work, kind of rested. Like I could have done it, but I didn't, which I think is such a good thing. Anyways, my point is that I wake up with this energy and then the universe is like, oh yeah, great. Like, okay. Like, you're ready. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
In the same way of like,
no, that's exactly what happened.
It's going to call you at 7:45 in the morning.
I know.
Or whatever.
I know.
Like,
I know.
Be careful what you wish for now that you are out of bed.
Truly.
It's what my life has been today.
Truly. Well, it's just a question of when you get unleashed onto the world, everyone else better watch out.
Yeah.
And I am constantly being unleashed onto the world. And when I go like, okay, just give me like a minute, like I'll just truly 1 second, like waking up, the vet rings.
No.
I mean, very nice of her to call me back with lab results, but like, oh my God, it's just like.
Also, they're like we love a cat. We love our pets. They're our babies, but like, this is a cat. Like,
you know what? I had to ask last week. So the cat, she was not eating for a couple of days and being sick, and she's an old girly girl. She's 18, and so we're like, okay, I guess you got to go to the emergency vet. So we take her to the emergency vet, and God bless the people that work at the emergency vet, because I walked in and they're like, hi, how are you? Super nice. Everyone there is so nice. And then proceeds, this is also on Valentine's Day, proceeds to be asked, I'm just like, they're like, if she has a heart attack, do you want us to resuscitate her? And I'm like, I think no. Like, and then, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just think she's 18, like maybe leave her alone. And then she goes, well, I'm like, I don't know, like it just sounds like maybe would put her in more pain. Like, I don't know what's going on. And they're like, well, to give you some perspective, most cats don't survive being resuscitated, even if they are suffering a heart attack. And I was like, oh my fucking God.
Oh my God.
So I was like, can I have
on.
a water? Can I have a water?
Yeah. I know. I mean, these are the things that are like, exactly, babies. It's like, what? Like, I was sick with a stomach flu for 2 days, and I'm literally over here like, how the fuck do you do this if you also have a child?
I know.
Like, what?
Well, here's the thing is, Jacqueline, and I have to remind myself of this, you don't. And it is just now in this period of time that we've been in, since really like the 80s, that people have the expectation of doing both.
Oh yes, like even if you have the child, yes,
fucking existed.
Yes. Exactly.
Never.
Yes.
Never has.
Yeah.
So let's be quiet.
Totally.
let's stop, because the answer is you don't, and leave women alone.
I had a very wise friend, because I was like, okay, I know that other women kind of other people deciding on parenthood must be thinking these things when they're like going through whatever, when they're taking their cat to the vet, when they are on the floor. I was on the floor of my bathroom crying.
Yeah, because vomiting is horrible. Vomiting is existential horrible. Pain.
Yes, it's terrible. I'm saying to my husband, I'm gonna die. And Jack is having to be like, you're not gonna die.
Okay,
you're not gonna die.
You are, so.
And I like had a very wise friend this week say to me, no, you do that. You go to the vet and you make the tough choices. You throw up and you feel like you're going to die, and you say you're going to die, and you cry, and you also have kids.
No.
And that it's not both. And that it's that, like, this is what I'm saying though. Like, this idea of like, oh, hold on, how could I do this and also have a child? It's like,
how do I stop barfing and have a child? Yeah.
It's like, no, you just show up in your like babyisms. Like you show up as an unparented whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like flopping around, and you also have a child, which is like even scarier to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, where is the space and grace for all of this? I don't know. Like, I was like, I walked, so the cat went back to the vet today. She's also she's okay. She's okay. She's good. She's at the vet right now again, getting some blood tests, and really cute. They have to give her Tylenol because she's old and she gets like creaky old. But I know when we went to go pick her up last week, she had a little kitty IV in because she was dehydrated.
Oh my God, I can't. I love it. Yes. That's amazing.
I know. And then she was all like soggy from her IV. Anyway, it's just like, it's whatever. Life is so funny. But I was walking down the street after the cat went back to the vet today, in between going to therapy and getting a coffee. And I was like, nobody knows. Nobody knows that this is very self-centered of me. And I know, and I'm aware that I'm like just keeping it together. And then I look at all the people and I'm like, you're just keeping it together.
Everyone's just keeping it together.
Your vet called you at 7 a.m. this morning. Your grandma's dying. You were just vomiting. Like, why are we all here? This is fucking insane. And you're like, oh, how are you? Hi, what would you like in your coffee? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna flip the table.
Yep.
So anyway, I don't. Yep. We're here, but then we're here.
We're here,
and then we record the pod.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's like this thing of like, you and I, we are just not. We just like have to say the things.
I would like a frontal lobe lobotomy, s'il vous plaît. Because
Mm-hmm.
But also
Mm-hmm.
then I don't, like then I don't.
Yeah.
Like I want a
No.
frontal lobe lobotomy and then I don't.
And then I want to like walk around and try and stare into the souls of strangers and be like,
Uh-huh.
what is your concern
I know.
today?
I know.
Burden me.
I know. I have a friend who's like, she's like going on a lot of dates right now. That's like her like
Aw.
thing. Yeah, she's just like she's just like, I'm just gonna like go on a bunch of dates.
Cute.
And I was talking to her and I was like, so what do you like ask people? And I'm like, I know this is so fucking rude and like just
This goes against the New York Times.
I know the new rules.
Etiquette that
I know.
come out.
Well, I'm not asking. I think I know which way you swipe. I think I know which way you swipe on Tinder. Oh my God. Yes.
Does Tinder even exist anymore?
Yes. Jacqueline, we need to go and die and we need to not say this on the pod.
I know. Okay.
But I was like, what are you talking to people about? And she's just like, oh, it sucks. Like, I asked people like what their hobbies are or whatever. And I was like, here's why I'm not allowed out of the house and should be like the government should they need to legislate this. I really think it's just okay to cold open with what's your relationship with your mother like.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Think it's weird that anyone else might think it wouldn't be weird.
Oh no, I think
to start there.
Oh no, absolutely. One of my yeah, no, totally. I have to control myself. I used to think it was totally acceptable to walk up to someone and say, so like, what's your deal? What's your story? What's your trauma? Tell me everything. Like literally those words. And
I do think part of it's like a cultural thing too, right? Like I was listening to a podcast the other day. I can't remember who was speaking. If I happen to remember, I will put it in the show notes. But someone was talking about like in like kind of Northern European countries, like it's when people ask you what you do, the answer isn't your job. It's like, what is your like hobby? Like, what are you passionate about? Like, who do you volunteer with? Yeah.
I'm a mother. I'm a sister. Yeah.
It's not this like, and I think it's so tied up in, I mean, like, obviously, I don't know. I'm on this like capitalism is so bad thing. And here, I don't know if we've ever done this. I changed my mind about, and also, like my in-laws are from countries where they like fought really hard to have capitalism and like they love capitalism and like think it's like a good thing. And part of me has to like I respect that. And so I'm like, to me, I'm like curious about what this like, is there a version of reality where like, I don't know, we're having that conversation instead of just like, here's what I do to participate in the world and make money, but like, I don't know, that's like good for me. Like that fuels my soul in a way. Like, I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I don't remember how we got here. This is what just happens. This is just what goes on.
This is what goes on. This is what occurs. Okay, so this is like not at all related to what we're talking about.
Love it.
Well, I mean, it's all related. It's all the same. Everything is everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you know what's happening? Is the Pamela Anderson documentary. That's what's fucking happening.
I've been meaning to watch, but I just know I'm going to cry. I just know I'm going to cry.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Phoebe, I'm not going to tell you like literally anything because you like need to know. You just need to go watch it.
Will I find new things?
You told me.
Will I learn new things? Wow, really?
Yes.
Wow. Oh no.
About life or about Pamela?
Both.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. I have to say before we get to the question of the week that you texted me yesterday and said, remind me to tell you about mystery blood tomorrow.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to tell this story, but the reason why I'm telling it is because it reminded me of on I Saw What You Did. Danielle went to the part she talked about. She was like, guess how. Okay, we'll make it a game. So she said to Millie, how did my Diva cup end up in some soil this week. And so I want to ask you,
Okay.
how do you think, I'm going to send you a photo actually, quickly.
Okay.
How do you think, so listener, I don't know if this came through. I got some mystery blood on the wall. And I'm going to ask Jacqueline how she thinks, I can't believe I'm sending you this photo. And I can't believe I'm talking about it on the internet right now. How do you think this blood ended up on my wall?
Oh my
it's God. A lot of blood.
Okay, so this episode is hilarious. We talk about like cats dying, vomiting.
We're just gonna talk about fluids. Like this is the fluid episode.
Okay.
So this
Phoebe,
is going
like
this is going into the bathroom.
Okay, this is like intense. This is not.
So it's like a blood.
Listeners, this is not a small.
This is not a splatter. This is not. And if you zoom in closely,
I see.
You might find
this is like theater set.
Yeah,
like
murder crimes. So
blood.
So I need to let it be known that I didn't notice the blood there. Simon didn't notice the blood there for days. Because
what?
I think this is also like speaks to the level of gremlin, disgusting freak. Like when people talk about being a dirtbag,
yeah,
they don't know.
Oh,
they don't know the level of dirtbag that you could be.
Apparently,
if you just follow my lead.
Okay.
The dog found the blood. The dog found the blood.
Yeah,
we only noticed because the dog was licking blood. Like, what are you doing?
Oh no! There literally needs to be like a warning on this episode.
No, I know.
So
this
gross.
Is so disgusting. This is so. But you know what? Okay, here's the thing. You know fucking what? We're all just walking around ordering coffees.
Life is disgusting. Life
with blood on our
gross.
Fucking walls.
Yeah, no,
with
exactly.
Blood on our fucking walls.
Yeah, life is gross and grody and gross. Yes,
you know, he who casts, what's that one? Without sin, may I say.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I would just like to put it to you, Jacqueline. How did the blood get on my wall?
Okay, well,
how do you think the physics of this could... What blood? Okay. Whose blood?
How do you know? Do you even know? You don't know the answer to this. So why am right?
I know
because
I have
if
some
you didn't notice it,
I have
you have some information.
I've inferred. We've narrowed down whose blood it may be.
Okay. Okay, this is
maybe just
so
and imagine
hard.
A scenario. So also you need to know that wall is walking into the bathroom, and our house is on a slant, so it kind of like you can really like fly into the bathroom if you want. If you take it at the right angle, you can go zoop right past that door.
Okay, something was like flung.
Something was flung.
I think that's the first thing that we need to establish is
physics. This is the CSI. This is when they do the enhance. We need enhance on this.
Yes. Something was flung Jackson Pollock style onto the wall.
It flung. It hit its target, and then more physics happened. It slid.
And then it slid down.
Yes.
Okay. It's not a small animal.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That is.
No.
That is. I don't. Something that was bloody, something that had blood on it already.
You could say that. So, I'm not, like I said, I don't really have an answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my thesis statement here, my hypothesis includes, I shouldn't have a period because I don't know how to. And I've been menstruating for decades now. And almost decades, and including all of the clothing I've wrecked over the years, bed sheets, towel, everything, just everything. Even when I think I have it under control,
it ends up on the wall.
it ends up on the wall. So listener, I don't, and again, I don't know how. I do not know how, but here's what I think happened.
Okay.
In the middle of the night, the other night, my period is over when I say it's over, quite frankly. After about day 3,
you just decide like
I'm done. I'm done. Okay, I'm done with this situation.
Uh-huh.
Now, the consequences to those actions are not something I've really been able to grapple with.
Right.
And so I woke up in the middle of the night, the other night, bleeding, needed to run to the bathroom. And what I think happened was I pulled period underwear out of the sink.
Okay.
And pulled it like that was I had washed or that I was supposed to be washing. Who knows? What happens, honestly? What happens, that is between me and God. Not even me and God. I don't even know who in God. I don't know what's going on in God. Okay. And so I'd left period underwear that I'd used in the sink. In the middle of the night, I grabbed them to put in the laundry to put on new period underwear. I believe this blood is flung from period underwear onto the wall.
Oh my God, I love it.
In my 3 a.m. fervor.
Right. Fervor, yes.
Grabbing underwear, I've got a very small bathroom. So I pulled it, and in that same action, left the bathroom. You're checking the photo. You're like, yeah, this physics checks out.
This checks out. Yes.
Meets the wall, which means that blood was on there for over 48 hours before me or Simon had noticed. Yes. Thank you very much. This is my science presentation. CSI, I am open for business. And I'm too afraid to Google how do you get dried blood off the wall because, yes, it's not coming off.
You can Google that. That's fine. No one will think
I don't want to be put on a list.
You won't be put on a list. Do you know how many kids like run into walls and bump their
I know.
You're fine.
So I'm going to talk about it on my podcast instead. That's better for me.
Yeah, I was about to say if anything, someone is coming for you because you're just a woman who talked about having a period on a podcast and all of the things that is what someone is coming for you for, not for if certain. You potentially murdered someone. Okay. This is hilarious to me.
That is so much blood.
Yeah, it is, Phoebe. Okay.
So anyway, mystery blood. Everyone I've told, obviously I had to tell everyone I know, including a couple hundred listeners. And everyone's reaction has just been, how? I
don't know.
This is one of the more interesting
I kind of understand
feats I've pulled off with my period.
I know.
But how does anyone have a period and just it does? Quite frankly, it's amazing. It's been this long and it's not gotten on more walls.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, is that this feeling of I don't know how to deal with this. I shouldn't have. What is this? I think that's a very common feeling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What this new experience kind of every time.
Every time. It's a shock. Every time. every time.
It's as if there is a new way to just figure it out or whatever. Yeah. No, I don't think that. I think that's an extremely common feeling. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the fact that you didn't notice this is really not surprising to me at all.
I will also say whatever. Have blood on your walls for as long as you want, listener. Our house is so weird because we have lived in this old house turned apartment.
To say. Yeah.
Old house.
That isn't. It's your apartment is kind of like laid out in a weird
It's
way.
very weird.
Yeah, like I can honestly, I
There's
can,
a lot of corners that are just invisible in this
yes,
house. So
yes,
despite walking past this wall many times a
yeah,
day, many times a day, it's not
yeah,
really it's not a high visibility
right.
wall.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I don't know, like, I notice like things on my physical being, and I'm like, wow, look at this huge ass bruise. Look at this
Mhm.
gaping cut
Mhm.
that I just like didn't
Mhm. Mhm.
realize I had on
Mhm.
my body. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, like, whatever.
I know.
Like,
But again, this is what I'm saying. Aren't we all just people?
yes, we're all just
And it's
people.
so embarrassing to be alive, and it's so
It
embarrassing to
is.
be a person, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so embarrassing to have bodily functions and fluids and pets and yeah, we came out swinging hard left with the vomit and blood today.
Yep.
Maybe this is what every other week podcasting gets you, just like distilled disgusting, distilled
Just
dirt
get a little
bagness.
dirt bagness. No, this is some real flea bag shit.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's got to
Mhm.
go somewhere. These are my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Piss, shit, and
So
blood,
good.
baby. And vomit.
Apparently.
What are we talking about today? What's going on?
Okay, so my question today is do you ever feel like you're too obsessed with your relationship?
Ooh, no, I feel like I could be more obsessed with
I fucking knew you were gonna fucking say that. I literally was like, Phoebe's answer to this is gonna be no.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be fine with it.
Yeah. I could probably stand to be more obsessed with my relationship
Yeah.
than
And
I am.
I think this question is also like maybe not even do you ever feel like you are, but do you ever feel like we are too
Ooh.
obsessed with our romantic relationships?
I think we're too obsessed at what the perception or
Mm.
what other people think of our relationships
Mm-hmm.
are.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's that.
That is that. I think that is key to this equation.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed like, and maybe this is just because like now there are people in my life who are like in the long-term relationship thing now, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like they weren't when I was like trying to figure out the
When
shit
you
in my
were also in
like
a long-term
yeah,
relationship.
yeah. But you know what like it just like
Yeah.
it's kind of like I feel like there's a focus not just like personally that I've noticed, but also like socially, culturally in the web
Mm-hmm.
zeitgeist, whatever the fuck that word is.
Zeitgeist.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Of like focusing on the quality of our relationships. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's
Do you mean romantic
I do
relationships?
mean romantic relationships.
Okay.
Because just obviously it's important to fucking focus on the quality of your relationships, period. Relationships,
Mm-hmm.
romantic or otherwise. That's like
Mm-hmm.
literally what makes us human and makes us
Mm-hmm.
happy in the world. There's like there is like proof of this
Yeah.
that like the quality and health of your relationships are literally how what define the happiness in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying don't give a shit about your relationship.
No. I was just
Right.
clarifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to say romantic relationships. But I think there's like a obsession, not just like a focus, not just like a let's make sure this like quality of your life or this like section of your life is like going okay. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Okay being the word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like there is this like obsession
Mm-hmm.
with like if my romantic relationship is not whatever, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like there is something wrong with me. Like, or there is
Mm-hmm.
something wrong with us, or there is something wrong with whatever, right?
Well, and I think it's like what I think is so funny about all of that stuff is like I am only imagining the function. All I can think of are external appearances of a relationship
Mm-hmm.
that someone might be Because what's the judgment here? Right?
Yeah.
Like that it's not good enough because, and then if it's enough, that means we have to hold it up against something else.
Mm-hmm.
And holding it up against something else means moving externally. So I'm just like, I'm trying to think of like other ways in which you would not be, right? Like, how are you measuring
Yeah.
internally?
Internally. Yeah. For sure.
Question mark?
Yeah. I think there's like this like push pull, like there's this navigation right now of I think of people trying to figure out like what is, again, right, like a healthy level of considering your romantic relationship,
Mm-hmm.
like keeping your romantic relationship well, okay, like whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then what is like obsessive, and what
Mm.
is like maybe unhealthy, what is like
Okay.
maybe, yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that there's like all this stuff now in a way we didn't have before, or resources, Instagram
Yeah.
feeds, like, you know, like
Yeah.
blah, 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 that are kind of cultivating this like paranoia
Yeah.
around our relationships in a
Yeah.
way that's like really scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the like attempt to have healthy partnership, whatever, right? There is this like obsession with like uh I don't know, like learning the best things or doing it the
Yes.
best way or
Yes.
finding the la la la
Yes.
la 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 la,
Yes.
right? So that there is no like like avoiding the inevitability of what might happen to you in your future. Like, do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like there's like
Yeah.
this like, because it's not, you know, there's, I don't know, and I just think like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, like,
Well,
yeah.
I think this is like I was talking about this with my therapist today, right? Like everything is too much
Mm-hmm.
and it's never been too much before because before, okay, so if you worked, you would probably have somebody that like would manage children and house stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably not be equitable or fair, and it would
Yeah.
probably be carried about by marginalized communities.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is. Um, and if you didn't work, then you would do this labor yourself. And then that is such a very rigid target that you're hitting of, you
Mm-hmm.
know, domestic partnership looks like this.
Yep.
And it functions this very specific way. And because we have this like rainbow of opportunities of what partnership can look like, what
Mm-hmm.
cohabitation could look like, what I was just listening to a like queer family lawyer and was talking about like if you are going to procreate with somebody and not like but you're not married, like what are the questions that you need to be asking each other,
Mm-hmm.
like all of these things. So there's just like the
Mm-hmm.
rainbow of opportunities now.
Right.
And if there's the rainbow of opportunity, but with the rainbow of opportunities we still have the same very narrow target.
Yes.
And so what is a good relationship or how it functions is still, so even if it is the rainbow of opportunities
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, XYZ, all of the variables it could possibly be,
Right.
it still has all of the expectation and probably more pressure now of you are my person forever.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not my forever person, then this is a mistake and I did it
Mm-hmm.
wrong and I
Mm-hmm.
failed.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and so how do I keep this very narrow? How do I keep it moving to this very narrow target? Okay, I'll go to couples therapy. Okay, I'll look at the Instagram carousels. Okay, I'll listen to the podcasts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll make dinner tonight because that'll make space for the other person, whatever. So I think it's like the function has changed, the form has not in a way. Or the other way around, something like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like
Mm-hmm.
if it looks, it like looks a certain way, but it still has all of the same pressures of security and stability. And even if you're like, I don't want, I mean, fuck, I find that all the time. I don't know if I sent you this text. Someone called me Simon's wife the other day, and an award for me not blowtorching that person. Like it has
flowers for Phoebe.
Yeah. Real gold star. And I didn't even correct them. Fuck, even just now, I know.
Yes.
Calling, trying to say to the vet, don't call me, call my partner. And they go, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm like, just the other person on the
Don't
thing,
even get me started.
So I know.
Yeah.
And so I think it's so funny, right? It's like everything is possible, and we still are like, okay, but okay, that's very nice. It's like this. It's like, it's very nice that you have painted this picture, but like now quantify it for me, please.
Yes. And I think what I find like, I mean, like I think what I find really like scary, you know, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what the word is, but it feels a little bit like if we guard ourselves with all of these quote unquote resources, right? Or if we compare ourselves to what is being told in the couples therapy episode, in the Esther Perel podcast, in the Gottman Institute book, in the like these like whatever things, which in and of themselves are based in study or research or blah 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 blah, that have its own et cetera, right? Like if we're comparing that, we're taking these things like, or like judging our own relationships against it, right? This like, this is what healthy looks like. This is what good looks like. We're almost, I think, kind of avoiding living, avoiding discovery, avoiding like the inevitability of life and
fuck
pain
ups and making mistakes and like
and sadness and feeling.
Well, because if you do all of that work, then you don't have to have that sad negative feeling.
I think there's like some kind of like lie or something that I want to just call out, I guess, and say like, first of all, we are human beings, which means we are dummy dumb dum-dums. Like, and we are literally learning the same thing every day, every hour, every minute, over and over again until we die. Like, and trying to have control over that or release ourselves from that is the ultimate like thing we're all doing on the earth, right? Like, you will have to learn certain lessons or certain things over and over and over and over again. And that is just what living is. You know, like, but I just think there's this like, I don't know. And like, I'm a victim to this. I think I want to speak to this in the sense that I think most partnerships, this kind of like examination of the relationship usually falls on one partner, right? Like, or this kind of concern or like over, you know what I mean? Like over analyzing, worrying, are we where we should be? Is this a good relationship? There's usually more kind of labor on one side of the thing, which I think is also part of this, right? Like, I think it's designed for me as a woman to worry about my relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's designed for me to be like, am I going to survive? You know what I'm saying? Like literally like all of these things. And we're not, and I don't think we're thinking about this when we're like scrolling through, you know, the 10 best like healthy habits of couples. You know what I mean?
Well, this is making me think of, so a new season of Love is Blind just came out, which I watched in one day, and which you're not allowed to watch.
I know.
And it makes me think of this, and I think Love is Blind is like such, I mean, there's so many like reality TV shows like this, but I think Love is Blind is really funny because it puts this real emphasis on marriage. And Nick, oh my God, Nick and Vanessa roll out and they're like, here's what makes a good marriage and here's what you need to do to have a good marriage. And I mean, truly fuck off.
Yeah, truly fuck off. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's very, I mean, you want to talk about a narrow target, very heterosexual.
Oh, of course.
Very, very white in the, I mean, as you're talking about like all of these, we know this about like psychology, all these psychology is built on a model of how a white man feels.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously I love my therapist and I've been going to therapy for a long time, I believe it. And also like there are really severe, like rerouting of these things that need to be done. Yes, I know that's what you're saying as well. Yeah. So so the target is so narrow on the show. And these people come on and like, I want to asterisk this with it. I fucking love women. I fucking love women. All women are perfect, beautiful angels. And I want to take all of these women from Love is Blind to like a feminist summer camp.
Word.
And like, we can have liberation without you having to, and they're so fucking young. These women are like 23 and they're like, I'm ready to get married. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. I'm so stressed out by every single aspect by it. But what I see in these couples, and there's this one couple in particular, oh my God, what is her name? Colleen and Matt. And Colleen's sister friend, if you were listening, like, I love you. You deserve fucking better. And like this idea of like effort, that relationships are work and they're effortful. And I say this as somebody who's, okay, one, I've been in a long-term relationship for 11 years and I go to therapy and I go to couples therapy. Yes, staying together is labor. Never once have I felt like it is so much hard work. Oh my God. But you know, I guess it's worth it. If I'm going to fight, I want to fight with you. No, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Like this lie that we tell ourselves that like, if it is, and because of capitalism, if it's labor, then therefore it's good. So if you're putting in the work, not only are guaranteed safety and you'll stay together, you are good for putting in that labor. And so I see this on Love is Blind as like these women that like clearly you're not happy. And maybe you don't know that actually. So maybe it's not clear to you. But like you've been sold this fucking lie by everything in your life that getting married is safety and you are good and you are a more valuable person because of it, but only for a very short amount of time in your relationship, and your relationship has to look a very specific way, and any other version or reality cannot therefore be true in your relationship. And again, it's this effort, and it's like, it just like, it boils my brain. It makes me so fucking upset. And I just hate this conversation that it's like, and I only hear this from straight women. It's so much work. Why? Life is so hard. Like, why are we doing this?
Yes. It's so interesting because like that whole thing of like, I would rather fight with you than anyone else or whatever.
Yeah.
I say that about my relationship all the time. I say I would rather be unhappy with Jack than unhappy with anyone else. And I think that there is something to that, right? Sure. Like I think we're not like, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I think there is something to that in the fact that we don't want, or I don't want the opposite thinking like, oh, well, if we're fighting or if I'm unhappy, that means I'm in a bad relationship. Right?
Yes.
Like, right. Like we also don't want, life is so fucking hard already, this should add to your life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not take like kind of thing. Right. But I think like,
well, and I think this comes down to what people's idea of conflict is. Right.
And,
because conflict is my fucking dojo, man. Like conflict I can get down with. I got no problem with that.
Same.
Other people in my sphere, that is not their, I would go as far as to say conflict, my love language.
Oh. Why are we friends?
So it's
why
for
are we
real,
friends?
For real. Yes. And it's so I think that has something to do with it, right?
But here's the thing: is like, I guess what I think is wild to like. I don't think it matters.
No.
And I think this is like kind of my question is like is the point to be in a good, healthy, blah, 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 blah relationship all of the time? Is that the point? Like, is that the point?
Well, but I think this comes down to honesty, right? Because it's like, what other than sweet, sweet love and companionship does a marriage of any kind or a partnership of any kind offer? Stability, financial or emotional, like protection, safety, like all of these other things. And so go fuck yourself. No, it's not love is blind. It's it is the exact same thing as an arranged marriage. And I think if we were a lot more honest with ourselves, if you stuck your hand up and said, hey, I'm looking for someone to raise 2 children with and live in a condo in downtown something and live this life, I think we would be a lot more happier and have a lot less conflict in ourselves instead of walking around and saying like, I want to be in love forever.
Oh, no. What? Yeah.
Like that is what like or and I want to like you every single day for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Like I just think that there's so much, it's so goofy to, it's like we go into it with this like, and it's just because I just am angry at Nick Lachey right now, and this is what it is.
Okay, great.
But there's a man at the center of this. But it's like if we go into this thinking it's like if it's love or whatever, companionship, it's such a, there's no room for nuance is what I think I'm looking for. And so
any nuance, and exactly.
And so I think I know we've talked about this on the podcast before, like I have chosen to like not label my long-term relationship in many different ways, and like rejection of certain, like, marriage, like certain functions of these things, in order to have that rainbow.
Yeah.
Like I need space, creation. And it's like, I mean, I even joke sometimes, like, I think if you could go to my Instagram page, or you could like talk, I don't talk about, I think this is where I talk about Simon the most.
Oh yeah.
On this podcast. And and that's really conscious. That's like,
oh no, I know.
Really, really conscious. Yeah. Like I do not talk about my fucking relationship. I don't talk about it in my writing. I'm talking anywhere else. Because I want such separateness from my relationship. And that is the function of my relationship for me. It's like very, very, very private. And and I don't, and it's going to be different for everybody else.
Yes.
It's going to be very different for everybody else.
What I want to say is like, and like what I think is like really, what I think is really gets really like complicated, and I think we need to allow for more nuance around, is like this idea, like what does partnership, long-term partnership give you, right? Companionship, financial stability, blah, 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 blah. Like that's all a lie too.
Oh yeah. I mean, because the rug could be I mean, I'm watching the OC again right now, baby.
Like that's also a lie. So it's like I like any like, no, you like literally every day is faith. In the same way that every day is faith in yourself. Every day is like hope in yourself, right? Like, and you get like, there is no, there, I think that, because I think this happens, right? Where like people get in relationships and then they go like, this is what this is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like this like total letdown,
Yeah.
right? Of like, and it's like, yeah, because even if you do love your person or whatever, it isn't guaranteed that that means like companionship for
Or
till
that they're
you
not going
die.
to say the most fucked up thing to you right as
Or-
they're leaving for the door and you're just trying to have a cup of coffee.
Right. Or that like there's going to be security sometimes and maybe not security others.
Yeah.
That there's going to be like you like, I don't know. And so I think there's like this almost like it's like the tools that are were maybe created for like the liberation or for the like the discovery or for like the learning or for the knowing or whatever, like inside this like arrangement, right? Like are actually kind of like being used now to like like protect us from what the actual truth of being in a relationship is. You know what I mean? Like, like I don't know if that makes sense. And I think that like, you know, it's like this thing that happened with me with like this fucking Miley Cyrus song, like Flowers. What a wonderful song. A song about self-love. And yet on the internet, there's literally this trend where married women, right, are like singing the song to like joke about it, to like get their husbands to be like, oh my God, am I not like doing what I need to be doing? Because Jesus like Christ. You can buy yourself flowers. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, you know what? Like what are we doing? Like married people, not married people, all deserve self-love.
Yeah.
Like it's not meant for one particular. And I think there's like this weird, like it's like stopping us from experiencing what like life is almost about if we're just like guarded with all of these like tools and resources and ideas and protection of like, you know, like, I don't.
Yeah. Well, I don't think a truth, this is like Esther Perel 101, right? Of like a truth that I don't think a lot of people are cool with is being in a long-term relationship with somebody, being in a romantic relationship with somebody, long-term or not, short-term relationship, long-term relationship, whatever, require the other person to have their own sex life. What that is and what your boundaries around those things are going to be very different person to person. But as individuals, you are, I mean, should function on your own. And like that's a really intense thing, I think, for people to hear. And I mean, even in my own relationship, like this is like same but different. Like I have a very hard time, even now. I've lived with Simon for many, 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 many years. Our finances are very tied up with each other. I have a very hard time letting things not be 50-50 financially, like him paying for anything for me. And that is 100% my shit. But because it's really important to me to have, that's not guaranteed. I don't know where you're going. So I am not really cool with me giving up any kind of, I don't know, what if just because things are okay right now or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that's because I've seen that happen to women in my own family, like where they don't have their own financial security and you're in a position where you can't do anything about it. It's the same thing with sex. Like I am always going to be my own lover first. I'm going to be my own first love all the time.
Well, I think that is what we lose sight of exactly is how that is for anything.
Right. You don't love yourself.
Sex,
right.
Yes.
It's RuPaul 101 as well. Like I'm not loving myself so that I can love somebody else. I'm loving myself always first, forever.
Yes.
Forever.
Yes.
Forever. And then maybe you.
Exactly. I think that
and maybe even not today.
So key. And maybe even not today. And I think what we do Oh, I'm so glad you said this, Phoebe, because I think what we do is we say you can have either or. You can
Yes.
have,
Yes.
I choose myself always,
Yes.
blah, 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 blah. And then that means you're alone.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or you don't choose yourself.
Mhm.
You love for others or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're with someone.
Yeah. Well,
And like,
yeah.
go ahead.
I lost what I was gonna say. We were talking about RuPaul. We were talking about loving yourself. Shit.
I want to know where the gray area is. I want to know where I'm interested in the middle. I'm interested in the gray area. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm interested in the.
Well, I think the gray area is like a constant renegotiation of what the fuck your relationship is, what your boundaries are, what the function of it is, how it works.
Exactly.
All the time. Day to day, moment to moment.
All
Sometimes
the time.
Simon is like the hottest lover I've ever had. And we're deep in love. And other days, today, he is a chauffeur to take me to my appointments.
Yes.
Yesterday, he was my roommate. Tomorrow, undecided. And
yes.
And being down, and 5 years from now, I don't know a fucking clue. I have no idea. I have no idea.
And like
maybe he's like co-parent. Love, I don't fucking know. But to put so much expectation of like the end, forever, love, passionate love.
Please.
I don't, and to kind of go back to your original question as well, like, do you ever feel like you're obsessed with your relationship? Like, I feel like no, in a way that I could definitely afford to spend more time invested in my relationship with, be more flexible. If anyone's going to get flexibility from me in this life or in my life, it should be the person I'm spending time with, hopefully. But then I also think this is, I remember what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I've been talking so much. And whatever. This is why I think this is why you're talking about like that both and, either or kind of thing. I think this is why we're seeing, young men are having less sex and young women are very fine on their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like very, very, very fine on their own. Yeah. And, obviously sisters, be my guest. I got no problem with that. Like, keep going. Yeah. And also maybe you'll love yourself just as much and somebody else at the same time. Like maybe. Or maybe like 3 other people at the same time.
Or maybe like exactly. And I think that like I'm getting stuck in this place of, my evolution around these ideas have obviously dipped and changed and moved, and like I 13 years in a relationship too, and like I don't know how I feel about, I don't know, like, Oh
my God, right? And like, I think of where you were 10 years ago and tell yourself that now, like another 10 years, another 13 years, what is going on?
And I think that everyone is like, I think obviously I wouldn't be asking this question if I didn't feel like I was too obsessed with my relationship. I think I'm too obsessed with my relationship. But I think in the sense of like, for such a long time, I was so worried about this exact thing, right? Like, is my relationship good?
Right.
Is my relationship healthy? Is my relationship
do we have the right
blah, blah,
photo?
Blah, blah? Do we have the right this? Do we have the right couples therapist? Am I blah, 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 blah. That when I let go of all of that, I'm actually doing the work that I thought I was doing when I was doing that other stuff. Like, and that is what I'm saying is like great. Like,
yeah.
Take the ester, like whatever, yeah. But like, like, like why, like why are you doing that? You know what I mean? And I think kind of culturally or socially or something that like something is happening to us all where we're doing it because we're scared to actually be in relationships. Actually, like actually, you know, like
Yes.
Um,
Yes, because it's very vulnerable in every
yeah,
way. In any
and
relationship, again,
of course,
like
yeah. And Orna, I think it's Orna,
mhm.
and I understand the irony of this conversation. And Phoebe and I have now quoted Esther Perel, and now we're about to talk about couples therapy. But like Orna says in one of the seasons, like all of these couples are kind of like looking for the legitimacy of their relationship to bring them some kind of
Yeah.
meaning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or their marriages to bring
Yeah.
them some kind of meaning about
Yeah.
their existence in life or
Yeah.
their individual whatever. And it's
Mhm.
like it can't.
Yeah.
Like it will. I think I am
Yeah.
learning
Yeah.
that it will not. Like
No. No. And that's again, that's like, I mean, it's so human, right? To look outside of yourself,
mhm.
to feel validated, to look outside
Yes.
of to look outside yourself, your relationship, the other person in the room. You make me feel good about what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Whether it's a therapist, your partner, your whatever, other
Yeah.
people, Instagram,
Yeah.
you make me feel good about how my relationship works, and do I have the right photos, and am I going on the right trips, and
Mhm.
the packaging of all of it,
Mhm.
the packaging and the
Mhm.
function.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think like actually how much more amazing or how much better would it like could our relationships be if like we weren't obsessed about our relationships,
Yeah.
like I just think that like I don't know, or if like we've released the sense of like ourselves on this thing,
Mm-hmm.
um
Well, I think this is where like queer couples have a benefit.
yeah.
In heterosexual couples have, even heterosexual presenting couples have the blueprint. And whether or not that
Exactly.
blueprint is something that you want to subscribe to or something that is thrust upon you, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Here's a blueprint. Here's something you've been told your entire life. And I
Mhm.
think when you have the option of gray area, or when blueprint isn't presented, you have gray area. And then the gray can be whatever you put in place for it. I think binary sneaks in when you start,
Yes.
it will always sneak in. It's like a magnet. It's trying to pull you back
Mhm.
onto itself,
Mhm.
for a good or a bad. But I
Yeah.
think I wish that everyone would take a look at their relationships in the same way, um, as queer couples do, to be able to like, what am I subscribing to? And then later on, what am I unsubscribing to that I have
Mhm.
previously served me as no
Mhm.
longer
Mhm.
helping?
Yeah. And I think that I today got out of a really frustrating therapy session, couples
Yeah.
therapy session,
Yeah.
where I was like, "These are my options."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't live in this world.
Yeah.
Like I,
Whoa, 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 whoa,
like
whoa.
I'm like, and me and like Jack and I have maybe never lived in that world. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like
Mhm.
we're kind of figuring that out of what that means. But like I just like it's so limiting.
Yeah.
Um and I when I like right, like when I say like, oh, I want to be unhappy, I would rather be unhappy with Jack than with anyone else. I don't mean I mean like unhappy.
Oh,
And
yes.
I in
Well,
like
and what yeah.
me unhappy. But I
Yeah.
think when people hear that, it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, well, okay, you'd rather be unhappy in a relationship, you know what I mean, with
Yeah.
Jack than with anyone else." And like that
Mhm.
might be a little bit true, whatever. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is that it's like my experience of happiness, which also it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what is happiness? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I I don't want anyone else there,
Well,
but
it's the
also
both and of those things, right?
yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, that's gray
Yeah.
area. That you're
That is
asking me what the gray area is. That's gray area.
that is the gray area.
Well, and I
And like
think I go ahead. Go ahead.
or like or the idea, the permission to be a married woman and talk about self-love and have not have people go say to you like, "Are you okay?"
Oh, fuck.
Like,
Fuck off.
is your relationship okay?
But like,
It's
also,
what?
can you trust me to let you know if that is ever any of your fucking business? I mean, this is a funny thing I think about relationships in particular is like a lot. If you were to say that about yourself, you'd be like, DMI. Like, but like relationships are like free range. And even, I mean, part of the reason why I don't talk about my relationship a ton on the internet is because I live my life on the internet. The person that sleeps next to me in bed doesn't. So I don't post a lot of pictures of them for like that reason. And it's just like this, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we do a lot. I think women, white women, do a lot of justifying men's shitty behavior. Women, and I think all women. And do a lot of justifying of men's shitty misogynist behavior. And so I think when we say, oh, you know, we fight all the time, but it's or this is really hard work. I think it's to justify this like it's to justify abuse in a way. Well, it's like, again, like this is good. I'm getting lost. I'm getting word salady because it makes me angry. But
I think I'm going to say something that probably is not going to be a very popular opinion. But I think what we do is we go, this is a lot of work, and it's good. And it's good that it's work because it's sacrificial to the patriarchy and my relationship.
Yes, thank you.
Really, actually, this is actually a lot of really hard work for me.
Yes.
As a woman.
Yes.
And to like take care of my own damn self.
Yes.
And instead I'm giving it over to the relationship and saying this relationship is a bunch of like whatever work, because then I can crown myself queen of the patriarchy. Then I can
because
say,
I get to win. Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Because then I win. I have subscribed to the oppressive system that once used to oppress me, but now I got that fucking ring on my finger. So screw you. Like I will hit you back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did that. That's all I'm fucking saying with this podcast. All I'm saying is me knowing like, it's like actually the hard work is actually in you and about you and has nothing to fucking do with your relationship. Here's
an unpopular, here's another unpiece, like not pop, just no one's going to like this information.
No.
It's like not fucking about you. And it's not fucking about the other person. It is like so your problem. It's always your shit. It's like it's never if someone comes to you and says, you made me feel bad, very rarely. A handful.
Well, no, that's like literally untrue information.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
not real. Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
But like the work that we're talking about, the effort, right? The effort, the labor. It's almost like it would be too scary to admit that it's just for ourselves or something, or like
you have like once again it is labor that you have to do because in order to maintain the castle that you live in of marriage, capital M, and if I fail, again, it's like the binary. If I fail at it, then I am bad woman. Which is like, even if you get, I don't think breaking up, I don't think divorce, I don't think any of these things are failures, you know? And I think that's like, patriarchy, man. And I think we do this stuff. Fuck, here's another thing. We will you and I, we will say, fuck patriarchy, fuck white supremacy. I don't like that. I don't like that they're shooting black people on the streets. I'm going to post my little thing. And then go and call the cops on each other, you know, like then go and uphold this shitty behavior that is so painful and like these microaggressions against each other. And this is where this behavior comes from. And this is why we justify this is so much work, because labor is good and conflict, it needs to be resolved immediately, and there's no space for gray, and I will always be right. And like that is the exact same thing, and no one is curious. I don't want to say no one is curious enough, because I deeply believe that all people can change, but it's so uncomfortable to admit to yourself that like I am like beating myself over the back with white supremacy, and then hitting other people with it in these day-to-day actions that I uphold. And I say that I, Phoebe Taylor.
Yeah. 1,000%. I'm like, are we too obsessed with our relationships, or are we upholding white supremacy?
Yeah, that is the real fucking question. For real. Yeah. For real.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that. Basically, okay. I just think it's like the answer is like, it's just like, I mean, this could be our entire podcast. This is my entire philosophy on life. It's just like, unless you're down for this messy gray, there is no answer. There is no answer. There is not a rainbow at the end. There is not a clean slate for that's going to make sense. When you close your eyes at night, and the constant searching for it is harmful. It's harmful.
Yeah. Yes, it's harmful, and it is it's harmful, and it's like it's obstructing. It's like the possibility to be created, to be seen, to be learned, to be understood, to be whatever, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I think we're too obsessed with our relationships, and everyone needs to fucking calm down.
Yeah.
And look at ourselves.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
yes. You can buy yourself flowers, and you have to all the time forever.
All the time forever, in any situation, in any arrangement, in any whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry to break it to you.
Yeah. And
Jacqueline.
I know.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye, I guess. Oh, look at you. You got your grapes back on that grape train, bitch.
Okay.
So funny. Patreon episode is going up. By the time you listen to this, there will be a bonus episode. Yes. You can support the show.
You can support the show. You can come on. You can ask questions.
Yes. You can we have our own. Do you ever feel like on Patreon that where you listener can come on and submit a question for Jacqueline and I to yell at you with.
Yell at everyone with. Yes, exactly. And what else? Oh, rate, review, subscribe, share, all the things.
Yeah. Basically, if you're getting to the end of these episodes and you're not over on Patreon yet, what are you doing, baby?
I know. What are you doing?
We're going to chat about, we have so much to chat about. Mostly it's it's Jacqueline and I always discussing Sex in the City. I think that's what
basically
our episode will be on. Anyway. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Follow this chaos wherever you get your podcasts.
Our artwork is by Simon Peng. Do You Ever Feel Like is produced by Jacqueline Wills
and Phoebe Taylor. You can follow us on Instagram at DoYouEverPod.
You can write to us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com. Okay, bye!